Here they come. The U.S. men's team is rolling into the stadium. It is beautiful here, the StubHub Center in Carson, California. We got an awesome pregame show coming up for you over the next hour and a half leading up to kickoff. But first, we're going to take you right back to our tunnel cams. It's a cool shot as the guys file off the team bus and into the team's locker room. Welcome back. Can you feel the excitement? About an hour away from kickoff, an hour and a half away rather from kickoff here, and already some fans starting to file in. People are ready. I'm Jeff McAdam, and you are watching Live Match Access on USsoccer.com. Coming up, you saw a couple of the players filing off the bus into the locker room. We'll grab a few of them as they head out onto the team field here to warm up before the game. And of course, we'll try to catch up with head coach Jurgen Klinsmann. Who's his starting 11? We'll let you know. Talk to him about the big game against Korea. Again, coming up about 2 o'clock here, California time. In the meantime, if you're trying to log on to Match Access for the first time, you'll notice on the bottom right side of your screen, we have live conversation going on. Feel free to join in. It's a big enough question. We might even address it here on our live streaming. Stay tuned. Live Match Access continues. USsoccer.com.
And it will be turned into the back of the net, and it's Clint Dempsey again. Oh yes, Josie Altidore ends the scoring drought.
And the most unlikely man to be the hero.
The shot deflects, and it will be turned into the back of the net, and it's Clint Dempsey again. Oh yes, Josie Altidore ends the scoring drought.
And the most unlikely man to be the hero is
Eddie Johnson does it on his home turf.
He does it again. Chris Wondolowski on fire. Discaroo has it down, and the Americans have 5.
Jurgen Klinsmann wins his first trophy, claiming the 2013 Gold Cup.
United States are through to the World Cup.
Where else would you rather be than right here, right now?
Welcome back to Live Match Access, USsoccer.com. I'm joined alongside Kyle Beckerman, the midfielder here for the United States men's national team. Kyle, welcome in.
Thanks.
You know, we talk about this January camp. It's winding down here. It was only a year ago that you were the guy in charge of this, you know, the captain of this game going in. But there's got to be a difference, I'd imagine, between being in a January camp, the year of a World Cup, and a year like last year when it was still a year away.
Yeah, I think really anytime you get a chance to really get in a really long camp with the coach, you know, hands-on with us, it's a chance, it's an opportunity for them to see what you're all about. So no matter if it's a year away, if it's 6 months away, they're always important. But we're all just excited to really we put in a lot of hard work. So now it's the game is the reward.
You talk about putting in a lot of hard work. You guys spent the last, 2 of the last 3 weeks in Brazil. It obviously sounds fun and cool, but what comes out of that? What can you guys use in a game like this from that?
Well, I think really it's just to get to see what's going on. I think we got a chance to see exactly what a day will be like when the team's down there training for the World Cup. So that's a just valuable experience, I think, and just to get into the culture of Brazil and the passion that they have was something you can always take away and learn from.
You've been with this U.S. national team since, way back, right? I think you were part of the inaugural U17 team with Landon Donovan. So this is certainly nothing new for you. But it was just, last World Cup, 2010, you were close, you were in the mix, you didn't quite make it. 4 years, you fast forward 4 years from now. Do you learn anything going into this final 5-month stretch that gives you an advantage, hopefully that gets you onto that U.S. team?
I don't know. I think the main thing is it's all about just working hard, doing everything you can that you can control. I mean, you can't control really who gets picked at the end, but you can control your effort. You can control how you are as a teammate, and you want to just help your team win. So I think that'll be the main thing is to try and get a win today. That'll help everybody's case.
All right, you heard from Kyle Beckerman. Good luck out there today. We'll catch up with you guys after the game.
All right.
Good luck. All right, we got plenty more interviews to come, including the newest member to this U.S. national team, Michael Parkhurst, just joining the team this week. We'll catch up with him coming up next as U.S. Match Access goes on. We all do.
That's what I mean.
All right, welcome back, U.S. Soccer fan. Again, you are watching U.S. Soccer's live match access, and now we bring you the newest addition to at least today's roster for the U.S. men's national team, Michael Parkhurst, defender. You probably already know all about that. You come into this camp, obviously, the guys have been in Brazil the last 2 of the 3 weeks. Do you feel like it's easy to jump back in? I mean, you've been on this team before, so I'd imagine it can't be all that hard. Or do you feel like it's hard to jump back in?
Chemistry-wise, it's really easy. The guys are great guys, and I'm friends with a lot of the guys. So that, in that sense, it's really easy. Soccer-wise, you need a day to catch up to speed. I haven't been training with the team for a few weeks, so of course to get that first session out of the way felt good.
We talk about a game coming up, obviously a big one for you guys. You've moved back from Germany to be in the MLS, now at the Columbus Crew. That's got to be exciting for you. I know you got a fan base who's pumped to have you. How much is that move, the U.S. soccer team as a goal going forward to the World Cup, how much of that was an influence in you making your way back to the MLS, being a part of the Columbus Crew?
It was a big influence. The World Cup is everybody's dream, and everyone in camp right now is one step closer, and we all know that. So every soccer decision from here until the summer is based on the World Cup. And I needed playing time, and I needed a place where I could call home. And I found it in Columbus, and I'm thrilled to be back. I'm thrilled to be back in the States and playing for MLS again.
Looking online, obviously a lot of Columbus Crew fans excited to have you suiting up in the gold and black. But when you make a move like that, it makes you also stay away from the game for a couple months when you go through a transition like that. So you haven't had a game experience here for a couple of months. How do you stay in shape to jump into potentially a starting lineup if it were to happen today? How do you keep yourself in shape and to be able to do something like that?
Well, you just have to be a professional. I mean, something's coming up. There's always going to be something next, and whether that was a new team abroad or a new team here or the national team, you have to be ready. And as a professional, you have to keep yourself fit and ready for that next challenge. And it's just crushing the treadmill every day.
Well, good. You certainly look fit. I don't know the 2 months, even if you hadn't worked out, you'd be able to tell anyway. Probably one of the most important things about what you're able to do is you're versatile. You can play left back, or you could also move around a little bit. Do you think that's one thing helping you go forward? You look at a spot on a U.S. roster, that can't hurt, right?
Absolutely not. I think the more positions you can play and at a high level, the better it is for you. Of course, it's great to hone in on one position, but if that doesn't happen, then the more versatile, the better.
Michael, appreciate it. Good luck out there.
Thank you.
Catch up with you guys after the game. Hopefully a win against Korea.
I appreciate it.
All right, well, we'll be back shortly with the head coach, Jurgen Klinsmann. Again, who's in your starting 11? We'll find out shortly here in about 15 minutes. You'll get the first access to that starting 11, all part of the perks of being part of the U.S. national team. Stay tuned. We'll be back with that right after this.
Great. Hey, Alvaro, can you find out what some of the strike teams can go? U.S. address.
That's next.
You gotta go through the north couple doors. You gotta go through these. Alright.
How can we not let me know? How can we not let me know?
Johnny. Gotta go the other way. Galaxy. Chivas 2. Excuse me, sir. Huh? Media when the players go down. There's no players. The way they like it when those players are here. Unless you're photographing as you back up. Are you photographing as they come out? Okay.
If anything, I'm going to pull him too for the bench, and I'm still keeping him out.
High five.
Soccer fan, we got your starting 11 lineup. Let's take a look. All right. And the left back, well, first of all, we'll start in net. We got Nick Raimondo playing goalie. Here we go. Michael Parkhurst, back left. Matt Beasler and Omar Gonzalez centering the defense. And Brad Evans on the right back. And then the holding midfielders. We got Mix Descarud and Kyle Beckerman. Outside left, Brad Davis. In the middle, the captain, Landon Donovan. And out right, Graham Zuzi. And then up top, you got Chris Wondolowski. There is your starting 11. You'll see those guys as they make their way out to the field shortly here. We're going to go to our tunnel cams. The guys filing out of the locker room, making their way out to the pitch. Still got an hour about before game time. We'll be back shortly. In the meantime, we got some great videos. The guys in Brazil. All that leading up to today's game. You're watching live match access on ussoccer.com.
Oh, yeah. Right. And they said the finals, they were like, okay, we'll be there, but yeah, because I talked to him every day about that. He forgot like 10 minutes after she left.
starting flying helicopter in the first place was really just an idea 3 years ago to fulfill a dream that I had as a little boy.
That was my dream, but then I unfortunately became a soccer player.
It's just absolutely gorgeous to be up there, and it's not like in a normal aircraft, you know, commercial flight where you're up in 30,000 feet altitude and you barely see anything. But in a helicopter, you really get a sense for what goes on the ground, you know, what's happening, and I think it's absolutely fascinating.
You know, if it's a downtown city or if it's the beach or parts of a place that you badly wanted to experience, if you see it up, you know, just above 1,000 feet of that place, it's just something totally different. Absolutely gorgeous.
You're not allowed to make any mistake, you know. You are not allowed to kind of lose focus or lose concentration. It really kind of keeps you on your toes, and I think that helps me a lot.
Los Angeles helicopter, copter 26 Alpha, flight of 2 at the Coliseum. Like a southbound transition along the 110 to Long Beach.
It took me a while to pick up, you know, the correspondence with the towers, and still today I struggle here and there because they talk very fast.
Copter 26 Alpha, flight LA Tower, ident, 22 Bravo airspace, via the harbor roof south, maintain VFR.
There's so much out there, let's do it, you know, and don't waste your time on your cell phone or waste your time from what other people think about you, or just challenge yourself outside the normal soccer environment, and maybe one or two will pick it up, you know, and if they come up and ask me to go for a ride, then I take them.
Got you guys back safely.
Well, I think Graham, Susie and Matt Beasler are great examples of how important a January camp can be. You know, it's really a huge opportunity to understand, okay, what is the next higher level? Can I adjust to that level right away? How much time do I need, and how much time do I have to improve? Kind of, to prove it to the coaches that you want to break into the inner circle of the senior national team.
Coming into your first camp, you're not quite sure what to expect, but at the same time, you're excited. You feel like you've been preparing yourself to get that chance, and you're almost anxious to get started and show what you can do.
I think for the two of us, at least, it's been a great way for us to kind of break in with the group, and you know, I think I certainly used it as a way to get on the coaching staff's radar. You know, so I think it's a great way for a lot of the guys here now who are in with the national team for the first time to do the same thing.
He had been there before. Just to make you feel more comfortable. He's a guy that you can go to. Even in practice, you're comfortable with another one of your teammates on the field. But for the new guys coming in, I mean, it's their job to ask questions. It's their job to seize the moment and to take their chance.
It feels good to give the advice to them, you know, the same advice that I got before. So you know, it's nice to kind of give back, and because I know where their heads at the moment, and you know, it was nice for me to have some older guys giving me advice. So I know exactly what it's like. So I'm happy to do the same.
Even before the camp, I got a few phone calls from current teammates and ex-teammates, and just kind of asking what to expect, and they're asking about the fitness testing, of course. But yeah, I mean, so far we're only a couple days in. The new guys are very eager. They've all been rewarded for the past MLS season that they've had, and look, they're all good players. So I'm excited to see kind of what this group of players can do.
You know, I think for myself, I was a little bit, you know, kind of caught in the headlights, a little wide-eyed, and probably a little bit nervous myself. But you know, after the first few training sessions, you settle down, and you know, you realize that it's just soccer, and you're able to, like I said before, you know, showcase yourself a little bit and just play your game.
Well, I mean, I think it's obvious what the camp did to me. I was able to come in and play well, and give myself more opportunities and chances to play in games, and yeah, I mean, without the January camp, I wouldn't have had the year I did. It's crazy. I mean, it doesn't feel like a year. It feels like 3 years since the last January camp. But again, I mean, I'm excited. There's still a lot to prove for me. So in some sense, it feels the same. But in others, I definitely feel older, and I almost feel like a veteran. Not quite, because I'm only 26, but I kind of feel like a veteran.
So we left LA and everything went pretty well. We were a little delayed on the takeoff, but nothing too bad. Flight went really smooth. I know a bunch of guys slept on the plane. Felt really like a 3-hour flight. And then we get, we're close to landing in Brazil, in Sao Paulo, and they tell us that there's a little bit of bad weather and we're going to have to divert and land in Rio for a little bit. And so you're thinking to yourself, okay, it can't be too far. It might be like a San Francisco to LA type of flight, like a 45-minute flight. So about 5-6 hours later in Rio, after numerous games of cards and questioning what was going on the whole time, we finally took off and landed in Sao Paulo, probably about 6-7 hours past the time we were supposed to land, go through customs, don't end up eating dinner till about 10 p.m., 10:30 p.m. local time. So it was definitely an ordeal, but as you can see, we're here now, and we're excited to be here.
Yeah, being a veteran is a lot different. I think the last World Cup I was one of the younger guys, not necessarily by age, but experience and that and whatnot. And so being able to be on the opposite side is pretty interesting, and I think you just kind of fall into it a little bit. So it's been good for me. I think I've been trying to use my experience here with the younger guys, and obviously this camp being in Brazil, I can kind of help out with the language and whatnot with whoever needs help. And so it's interesting being on the opposite side of it, but I like it so far. All the guys have been asking about Portuguese words and little phrases, so I've been having to teach here and there. The easy ones are thank you, obrigado. People are asking me about water, that's agua. A lot of them are similar to Spanish. What else? More steak, mais carne. So the guys are asking me here and there. I think there's going to be plenty more time to kind of for people to learn some of the language. Most of my family is in Rio, so maybe they'll come up and kind of see me a little bit here in Sao Paulo. But that's obviously something that you look forward to. Playing against Brazilian competition, I know we're going to be scrimmaging against Sao Paulo, and so those things are things that you kind of think about and kind of look forward to. Well, my expectations are always pretty high. I've played with the national team in a World Cup before, and I've played a good number of games, but I haven't been able to break into the A-team lineup with Jurgen yet, and I think you kind of can read in between the lines a little bit of how he is as a person and what he kind of expects from players, but I think he's just kind of observing me a little bit more in that sense. So it's like I said, it's a good feeling, and it's good to have more responsibilities amongst your teammates and your coaches. And I'm sure when he wants something extra from me, or when he wants me to do something that I haven't been doing, then he's going to let me know. So I look forward to that conversation, but I think he's more observing from afar right now. Like I said, everything's up for grabs. There's 5 months left until the World Cup. The World Cup being ultimately every player's goal to arrive at that stage and be able to participate with the team. And so coming into this camp is about reproving myself. I think there's times where I've played to a certain level, and there's times that I haven't. And I think this year, especially for me in Kansas City, has been a year about becoming more and more consistent. And if I can continue being consistent and playing at a higher level, more often than not, then I think I'll show Jurgen something. And then at the end of the day, you can only make his decision tough. Playing in a World Cup in Brazil would be incredible. I think playing in a World Cup period is something extremely special. I was very lucky to get the opportunity to do that 4 years ago, and now obviously the World Cup being in Brazil and in the country that I was born, where most of my family still lives. and obviously it's probably, if not the biggest, one of the biggest pro soccer countries in the world. So it's going to be quite a World Cup for anybody, but for a Brazilian-born player like myself would be over the top. So obviously a dream that I have, and for myself, hopefully it comes true.
In years past, the January camps have been, mostly opportunities for guys in the MLS to just come in and try and stay fit and stay, keep their game, as tight as possible, and having the coach get a good look at you. But this year, it's different. We got a lot of guys that have played now in a lot of qualifiers. There's still some new faces in, but for us with the World Cup coming up, this is a huge opportunity for us to continue to try and show that we belong. Continue to try and show the coaching staff that we have what it takes to be a part of that World Cup team. And for me personally, this is this could be this is my first true opportunity to go to a World Cup, and could be my last. So for me, it's very important. It's pretty surreal. Considering the fact that I thought my career with the national team was pretty much over until I got an email last year saying I was coming back into camp. I truly thought that it was a wrap. So I was focusing on my club. But to be fair, I came in the league in 2002, but in 2005 I got my first opportunity. But I'll be the first to admit that I wasn't a true professional at the beginning of my career. I was a young kid. I was naive. Didn't take care of myself very well, and I can't blame anybody but myself for not being a part of those. So it took me a while to learn, but I did. I took care of myself, and I feel like I've been playing some of my best soccer in the past few years as I've gotten older. We have an unbelievable pool of midfielders, and everybody knows that. To say it's going to be tough is an understatement. To come out here and work hard every day, continually try and stand out, continually be consistent. World Cups, and Jurgen even alluded to it, it's all about who's in form at that time. So if you can stay consistent throughout the year, go back to our clubs and do well, and help your club do well, personal success, club success, and be on top of your game at the World Cup at the World Cup moment, anything can happen. So it's up to you as an individual, but to come out and bring that same mentality day in and day out. At this high level. I played out on the wing, throughout my professional career, but the other part is I played in the middle too a little bit, and with Jurgen we played some different systems where the wingers pinch in, so I'm comfortable in the middle, I'm comfortable playing out wide, and I feel like I have the mentality now to do the dirty work, which is both sides of the ball, get up and down the field and help my teammates out in any way possible. So, and obviously set pieces, I feel very comfortable over those, and it's just having that mentality of the will to do whatever it takes, for your teammates and to get a win. This is what and if you ask a soccer player and they don't say it, they're lying to you. Their absolute dream is to play in a World Cup and represent their country. That is the ultimate. That's what you play for. That's what you work for your whole entire life. And for me to honestly be sitting here and saying that and talking about it gives me chills a little bit. It's pretty special to say that. So, like I said, this could be my last opportunity, and I'm going to do everything possible to make it the best.
Hey, let's make sure we communicate that.
All right, welcome back, U.S. soccer fan. You're seeing your team warm up out on the field. They're getting ready for the game against the Korea Republic. We still got a half an hour before the game gets started. Now, the Twitterverse, it blew up about 3 days ago. We saw your all comments, and this is the big reason why. Welcome in. You might recognize the face, might know the name, Stuart Holden. Welcome back, buddy. I think you were a surprise, at least for a lot of the fans, when they saw you were back with the team training. What is your latest story, and were the guys surprised to see you when you came back?
Yeah, I think everyone was. You know, it kept quiet. I was out here to see Dr. Mandelbaum and have my checkups, basically to be cleared back for full training, and I passed all those tests on Sunday and Monday, and you know, Jurgen and I had been in constant contact since I got injured, and it just worked out really well that I was able to come in and do some training with the team. And you know, I can't tell you how great it was even just put on the practice jersey and join in practice. And feels like just yesterday that all this happened, and you know, I'm so happy to be healthy again.
Yeah, you know, take us back. It felt like yesterday, you know, I guess it was about 6-7 months ago, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, let people know, in case for some reason somehow they missed it, what is the injury you're recovering from, and how did it all happen?
Yeah, I tore my ACL in my right knee in the Gold Cup final, which was a major setback for me at the time, obviously, because I'd worked so hard to get back healthy and felt like I'd just gotten back in a groove again. But it was kind of ironic to then now be coming back and having my first set of practices with the team that essentially I left off. You know, a lot of the same guys from the Gold Cup, and you know, everyone has been so encouraging and has been so positive, and lots of good feedback from everybody. So that just spurs me on even more now to get back playing games, which is not very far away, and hopefully make a late run at this World Cup team.
Good, yeah. I mean, you say it's not very far away. Obviously, the fans are going to be excited to hear that. What is your timetable? How do you look for the future, and what are your goals timetable-wise?
Well, I go back from here back to England on Tuesday, and I'll finish out that week and then start full practice with my team. So, just from there, it's going to be building up and play a couple reserve games. And, my goal now is to be back on the field playing full first team games by the first week of March. So I think that's definitely doable, and I think I can be at 120% by that point. And, I should get 8 to 10 games in before the end of the year and try and throw my name in the hat a little bit.
Great. Now you look at the guys behind you, they're warming up. Do you miss? It's only been 6 months, but you already miss it so much, or is it kind of cool? Because you know what, you get a unique perspective when you get a step back and kind of look. What have you learned just from watching? I guess. Anything?
Well, you miss it always, and that's the worst part about being injured. And even now, I'm so close to being fully back in there, just not even being able to be a part of it today and watching from the sidelines again. It's kind of more motivation because you see these guys working so hard every day, and the team camaraderie and the coaches and you feel how big a deal soccer is in the U.S. We got a sold-out crowd here today in the home StubHub Center, and it's going to be a great game against Korea. And now every minute, every practice is important leading up to the World Cup, and I want to be a part of that.
Stuart, thanks for joining us. We look forward to seeing you. Hopefully it does all come full circle, able to get back out in the field in time for World Cup. All right, well, we'll step aside. We'll let you keep watching the practice. We still got about 20 minutes before kickoff here. Now, I saw the fan comments here on the bottom right side of the screen. If you're joining our match access for the first time, like Stuart says, this side of the screen, you guys can have live conversations, which is great. We're monitoring that. So if there's a big enough question, we'll go ahead and address it. The game is coming up, like I said, in about 25 minutes. It's on ESPN2. Now, of course, we'll have post-game coverage coming up right after the game, right after a U.S. win, hopefully. In the meantime, hang tight, keep watching the game, and we'll see you back here in just a few minutes on U.S. Soccer's Live Match Access.
We need your help. Now that our youngest is finally out to college, we're ready to sell our house and move to the beach. You got it? Yeah. 21 easy now. More.
fine when you get look.
Celebrate The official Costa Rica.
starting 11 for your U.S. men's national team. 2013, the best in the team's history. How will 2014 begin? We'll know in about 90 minutes or so. Glad you could join us for our pregame report. We'll be back after the game is over for postgame. In the meantime, ESPN2, they got your game time coverage. We'll see you afterward. Enjoy the atmosphere. The USA chants are already going. We'll see you again in about 90 minutes or so as U.S. Soccer's Match Access continues. It was the results you were hoping for. A 2-0 win for the United States over the Korea Republic. Obviously the fans, they like it. Graham Zusi, he likes it too. Graham, welcome, congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Played a good game today. How did you guys feel the game went?
I thought it went very well from really the start to the finish. We set some goals in the beginning of camp, worked towards those for about 3.5 weeks, and this was a great topper to all that work.
You know, what did you see on that second goal? Your pass, it was very pretty. You know, what did you end up seeing there? How did it all kind of come together?
To be honest, I didn't see any of it. Brad played a great long throw into me. I got a little bit of a touch onto it. And I saw either Landon or Wando up there, so I poked it to them. And after that, I didn't see anything. I just heard the celebration of the crowd.
Bodies flying, but that's always a good thing, right? When you're laying down and you hear the good noise. Talk about. You had said it's a culmination of a lot of good things from Brazil. What did you guys work on? Was there anything that you could implement in a game like this that's different than normal?
Absolutely. Korea is a fantastic team. Their pressure and their attitude to pressure is phenomenal. So, we wanted to work towards working out of that pressure and providing some pressure of our own. So, I thought, the mentality we had from the beginning was fantastic. Our high pressure and our willingness to get forward after we won the ball was great, and that really is what led to our 2 goals.
Graham, great game. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Another game in a couple of months. In the meantime, this is something good for the U.S. soccer fans to hold on to until then. Graham's going to head back up the tunnel here, and we're going to catch him on the GoPro shot, our tunnel cam, as he makes his way back into the game, Graham. Appreciate it. Thank you very much. All right, keep watching. We got the man of the afternoon, the guy with 2 goals. Of course, Chris Wondolowski, he's coming up here in just a minute or so. In the meantime, like I said, we'll head to that tunnel cam as Landon Donovan makes his way up it right now.
Let me know before you leave. We're
And as promised, we got the man of the afternoon. 2 goals in just a 2-0 game, so lots of offense from him. Chris Wondolowski, first of all, congratulations on a big win.
Oh, thank you very much.
As a team, how good was this win for you? How good did it feel?
It's great, especially we put in so much work for this 4 weeks and all of January, and so to kind of cap it off and be able to get a win today was pretty special.
Especially special for you. 2 goals. That had to feel good, right? I mean, especially you only got 1 game until a World Cup potentially, or at least the warm-ups. You know, what about today made it all come together for you?
You know, I thought we played pretty well at times, and you know, especially on the goals, I thought it was good build-up. Graham Zusia had whipped in a good ball. Brad Davis to get it on frame was pretty special, and then the second goal, Graham with another great touch, and Landon with his special back heel. I mean, that was pretty nice.
It was kind of interesting how it all kind of just popped out to you right there. Certainly capitalizing on the opportunity when it comes. Now, it wasn't that long ago that somehow your jersey got accidentally misspelled. You had 3 W's, and for those of you who've never seen Wondolowski spelled, it's got 2. It's got 2. But that 3rd W isn't gone. You've done something special with it, right?
I have. You know, Jesse Bignami was able to put it. He always puts it on the inside, so it always stays with me. And so the 3rd W is always close.
It was good luck. You had a hat trick that game, right?
Exactly, I did, and so I had to keep it going.
It makes sense. Don't change what's working, right?
Absolutely. We're all athletes are superstitious. We've got something wrong in our head, and so we got to keep it going.
Great. And then final question. You know, obviously big game, big day, especially for a lot of guys who had their first cap. You had all but 1 guy get in off the bench. You know, talk about like DeAndre Yedlin, Luis Gil, those guys to get in their very first cap. You remember what that was like at one point, right?
Oh, it's a special feeling, and to be able to get out there and get that first cap, it's always nice. And I thought they definitely deserve it. They worked so hard, and you know, it was nice to cap off that month.
Chris, congratulations on another great win.
Thank
Good
you.
game.
I appreciate it very much. Thanks,
you bet.
Thanks,
That's Chris Wondolowski. He's going to head over to the fans now. Lots of them waiting for him, getting the autograph, that sort of thing. Don't go anywhere. We still got plenty more to come, including a post-game and more interviews with players. That's all coming up in a second. We'll leave you with some highlights in the meantime. Of course, Chris Wondolowski's a part of that.
오늘 경기에서 경기 자체로는 저희가 골을 너무 일찍 허용한 게 경기 전체적인 흐름을 바꿔놓지 않았나 생각을 하고 있습니다. 하지만 그래도 우리 선수들은 포기하지 않고 끝까지 최선을 다했다고 생각하고, 또 미국 팀도 우리 선수들보다는 좀 경험적인 측면에서 조금 앞섰고, 또 결정력에서 조금 앞섰다고 생각을 하고 있습니다.
Well, from my perspective, USA, they performed very well, and then they scored a goal, and we conceded a goal very early in a very early stage. So I think that's why we lost against the USA. However, I believe that our players, they put tremendous effort and they did their best. So I think that a USA team, they've got plenty of experience, so it was a good game.
가장 큰 소득은 역시 저희는 이번 전지훈련을 통해서 많은 것을 얻은 게 사실입니다. 첫째로는 우리가 월드컵에 가서 어떻게 준비를 해야 되는지, 또 무엇을 준비를 해야 되는지, 또 어떤 것을 발전시켜야 되는지에 대해서 이번에 충분히 알고 그거를 느끼고 이제 앞으로 올 거에 대해서 조금 준비를 해야 될 것 같고요. 또 아쉬운 점은 특별히 저희가 경기에 패하는 거 그 외에는 특별히 아쉬운 점은 없습니다. 저희 선수들은 시작하는 단계에서 어려운 상황에서 시작을 했고, 저희는 힘든 상황을 이겨냈고, 또 거기에서 우리 선수들은 최선을 다했기 때문에 감독의 입장으로서는 우리 선수들한테 개인적으로 전혀 불만이 없고, 뭔가 이곳에서 우리 선수들도 오늘이면 이제 헤어지는데 뭔가 얻고 갔으면 하는 저 개인적인 바람입니다.
The question was that well, you just finished the training camp for about three weeks in Brazil and America. So what have you achieved from this training camp? And in this view, well, we learned a lot of things. But first of all, how we have to prepare the World Cup. So, well, and how we have to develop our team. So it was a very valuable period for our team. However, well, although we lost against Mexico and USA, I think our players, they did their best. So I don't have any complaints to our players. So.
Welcome back. You're watching live match access coverage. The Korea Republic doing their press conference right now as we speak. We're going to jump in here, though, and break down the game. We'll welcome back a face you already saw, unless you just joined us now. Stuart Holden, welcome back.
Thank you.
You talk about this game. Obviously, the result was nice, 2-0. It's a win. What did you see from this game? Were you happy with what you saw?
Yeah, it was a good win in the end. The January camp games are tough because you work so hard for 3-4 weeks, and you have heavy legs. You're tired at the end of that camp, and this is what it's for, is to play in the game at the end. And so the guys can be happy with the effort they put in, and obviously getting the result and a win against a good South Korean team.
What did they do specifically? And more importantly, was there a guy that you saw out there? Obviously, people are going to see 2 goals from Chris Wondolowski, and that's going to stand out. Was there anybody else also that you saw that had a pretty good game?
Yeah, I mean, Wando's a finisher. That's, I told him don't look so panicked in front of goal, but obviously that's a joke because he's the coolest, most calm. His second finish, he just stroked it in, and got a second goal of the game, and obviously showed well again. Anytime he's put on the national team jersey in the Gold Cup, the same this summer, he had a couple goals. So, obviously he's trying to make a mark and show Jurgen that he can be a contributor. I think it's another plus for the back line to have a clean sheet. Nick Romando, obviously, and then you've got Beasler and Omar Gonzalez forming a strong partnership that you saw towards the end of the qualifying cycle. So I think there's a lot of positives throughout the team. I think everybody that played tonight, and and including guys that got their first caps. It's a special moment for them, and hopefully now they can build on that in the MLS season and look to push into the cycle.
You talk about the guys that got their first match access there. Speaking of match access, it was only 15 minutes. 75th minute, Yedlin came in, and so did Luis Gil. But 15 minutes is a lot of time, and I imagine that's got to be plenty of time for a guy like that who got their first appearance.
I think it's more about the moment, and what it means is representing your country at the highest level, and for them getting a taste of what's to come, and obviously being in camp and seeing the level that they will need to play at consistently to be a part of this group. And it's a very deep group, and from everything that I saw and in talking to other players, all those guys did really well in camp, and so to be able to excuse the pun, to cap it off with a cap, it's a very special moment for them, and as I said, I think that could be a good momentum builder for them, and incentivizing them as they go back to their teams now and try and have a strong MLS season.
Yeah, you mentioned it. It's a friendly, and so this game doesn't necessarily mean anything as far as a team win, but it does, because like you said, a momentum can kind of build off this. How much do you think this helps as you look forward to 2 months from now, the next game, and then of course the World Cup coming up in four months?
I mean, there's no such thing as a friendly as a player, because anytime that you put on the jersey, anytime you're wearing the crest and representing your country, it's a chance to impress. It doesn't matter the opposition, and obviously today a good South Korean team. I've played a couple games, so they themselves were battling some tiredness and stuff, but that's where you really find out how you are as a competitor. And again, I think a few guys showed really well today, and trying to push themselves onto the radar as far as making that World Cup roster when Jurgen's going to pick that team in May.
Great, Stuart. Thanks for joining us. All right, we had the Korea Republic up there for the press conference. We're going to be heading to the U.S. press conference shortly. Keep staying tuned here on Live Match Access, ussoccer.com.
Based player. So and European-based Korean players, they scored many goals like last night. So what do you think about the upcoming matches? So my point of view is like I have to select all best players for the match against Greece in March. So I think that we are doing like preparation for the World Cup. So we have to put our best effort to selecting the players.
경기를 보신 분들은 이 과정 중에서도 결과가 나오니까 이 과정에서 납득을 하지 못하는 분들이 많은데 어떻게 이게 감독님 납득을 시켜줄 수 있겠습니까?
글쎄요, 그거는 납득을 시켜줄 수 저는 없다고 생각이 들고요. 그 부분은 아마 이 팀의 감독인 저를 아마 비난을 하면은 저는 될 거라고 생각을 하고 있습니다. 그런 측면에서 우리 선수들은 정말로 최선을 다했고 어려운 상황에도 끝까지 최선을 다했다고 생각해서 그 몫은 제 몫이라고 생각하고 있습니다.
Well, the journalist asked that you said that this is a preparation for the World Cup, and then it is like ongoing process.
Welcome back. You're watching more Live Match Access here on ussoccer.com. Again, the Korea Republic at the podium at the moment. We'll cut in just a few minutes when the U.S. gets up. In the meantime, we talk about players having their first cap, their first experience. We welcome in a guy who got some big-time national playing time today. 15 minutes, he came in the 75th minute. DeAndre Yedlin, welcome. This had to be a big game for you in a big moment. What is that like?
Yeah, it was amazing. I mean, it's kind of hard to play just because you're really trying to take it all in and just kind of enjoy the moment. But yeah, it was incredible. It's undescribable.
When coach looked down to you and said warm up, or come, you're getting ready to come in, what's that moment like? You butterflies, or are you just ready?
Yeah, I mean, at first it was butterflies, but I was expecting it because he was looking down my and Luis's way for a little bit, so I was ready, and then after that it's just pure excitement.
Yeah, I mean, how long do you in the game? How many touches does it take until you get comfortable? And walk us through it.
Yeah, I mean, especially in a game like this where there's some nerves. It takes a little bit longer, I think, and it's tough. It was tough coming into the game and getting used to the play, especially because at the international level it's so fast. So that was tough. But once you get settled, settled down a little bit, then comes a little bit easier, and the guys, they have your back and they're positive with you, so that helps also.
You hear it's a whole nother level when you get into an international game like this. Just how much of a difference is it? Is it pretty substantial?
It is pretty substantial. I mean, I think players are fighting for their countries now, and that's an even higher level than your club. So it's everything you got.
Perfect. DeAndre, thanks so much for joining us. We're going to head into the U.S. press conference room as we speak right now. Jurgen's up at the podium.
Testing.
As we're getting settled, if you could please turn off your cell phones and put them on vibrate, we'd appreciate it. Also, before we get started, we do have a microphone for questions, so once Jurgen makes his opening comments, if you could please raise your hand if you have a question. But right now, I'd like to introduce the head coach of the U.S. Men's National Team, Jurgen Klinsmann. Jurgen, your thoughts on today's victory?
First of all, we would like to thank the South Korean team for making this test game possible. They had a stretch of 3 games, and was the last test now. Ours was our first test in 2014, so coming out of a 3.5 week of a training camp, I think the guys showed a lot of quality. They showed a lot of effort, and they got rewarded with a win. And so obviously, then you're pleased with all that work, then being also implemented in a game. I think overall, South Korea was always dangerous, especially with set pieces, corner kicks or free kicks. That was always kind of a feeling that something is up in the air, but we handled it well. We cleared it all, and then I think our players moving forward, and made a difference. And seeing Wondo starting the year 2014 with 2 goals is it's awesome. It's awesome for him.
If you have a question, if you could raise your hand, please. We'll go to Doug McIntyre.
Jurgen, on Wondo, what have you learned, if anything, about him over this camp and today that maybe you didn't know before?
Well, you learn always something new when you work with people and with players. I think Wondo is a wonderful example of if you are committed, if you are hungry, if you give everything you have over a longer period of time, sooner or later you get rewarded for it. And the 2.5 years now we're working together, and in every training session and every day he came in, he gave everything he has, and and that's then just really nice to see that a player like him is just waiting and for his chances, but also hungry for his chances. He's a pure finisher, and he smells where the ball will fall in or drop in a box, and he just is right there and puts it in, and he follows his first thought and just gets it done, and it's really a reward for his commitment, for his attitude, for his character. It's cool.
Brian.
Hi, Jürgen. Following up on that, I know the striker position is close to your heart. It seems like these guys are making it difficult for you. Josie is trying to find his way in England. Wando comes up and scores a couple. Can you sort of talk about if there's an open spot up for grabs and sort of where you see these guys taking shape over the next couple of months? Because right now it kind of seems up in the air.
Yeah, I mean, to be clear there, I think Josie once, he's keeping his playing rhythm, and the quality he has, is our number one center forward that we have. And Clint is the player behind him. We often talk about the spine of our team, which starts with Timmy and then goes through midfield with Jermaine Jones and Michael Bradley, and then Clint and Josie. I think this is something to build around, and a lot of players, that come around these guys, prove more and more their qualities, and they push for their starting spot, and others push for getting into their roster. Then at the end of the day, I think Wando is a wonderful example of, if you are persistent, if you are committed, if you are hungry, and you show that every time, that a coach always sees those things. A coach appreciates those things. I tell players often that when they are not playing in their club teams, for whatever reason, to stop complaining about it, and just show your coach every day that you are the hungriest on the training field, that you are the most committed one, that you're the earliest guy coming in and you're the last that leaves. And now tell me one coach in the world that would ignore that at the end of the day and not playing him. So when our players not making certain teams, not making starting lineups, there is something that they're not doing. For us, it's great to have now competition, and we get another game in there in the Ukraine. There, all our European-based players, are available for it, and we're working on another game in April here in the U.S. And so we get a few more opportunities. And other than that, we just now want to watch them, in their club teams, and we want to continue to watch Wando scoring for the Earthquakes.
We'll do Kevin and then Jeff.
Jürgen, yesterday I think you talked a little bit about some concerns on the back line, defensive line, and I think some of the players back there today, Omar particularly, looked a little tentative today. I'm wondering, are you concerned that it doesn't seem to be getting better? I know that you've lectured these guys on this a lot.
I mean, what we wanted to see today from our back line was to continue playing out of the back, even if they're pressurized. Kind of not then, panicking and sending long balls, and that's what they did. They really did that, and here and there, yes, there is maybe a long ball in between, but overall, we want them just to become calm, to settle in the game, and get balanced. And for the fact that it was their first season game, I think they look pretty good, and. I mean, obviously, if you look at the Korean number 9, the number 11 is very mobile, and number 9 is tremendously strong in the air. They give you a lot of work. And Omar and Matt, and even later on then Clarence, they dealt with it okay and kept a clean sheet. So, but obviously, you trained now 3.5 weeks, and that's their first test now. They will get smoother and smoother. They fine-tune things. With every game they get into their legs now.
We'll go back to Jeff.
Hi, Jürgen. You had Michael Parkhurst playing in somewhat of an unfamiliar role today at left back. What was your assessment of his performance?
I think for the fact that he didn't play pretty much for half a year, since obviously being a starter in the Gold Cup, when he went through a tough stretch there with Augsburg, and then playing left back instead of his more favored right back position, I think he did really well. And that's what we hope from him. We brought into this camp 3 left backs, and had a close look at them, all very talented, all played very strong MLS seasons, but we didn't see them at the end of the day on the level of Michael Parkhurst. And that's why, Michael was called in, and we timed it that way anyway, so we could see the other three beforehand. But for us coaches, the ranking was clear that, Parky is ahead of all three of them that would have occupied the left back role. So I thought he did fine. Yeah.
Let's come up here.
Jürgen, given that this is the first match in this preparation towards the World Cup, in terms of the players that are in the Mexican League, what have you been in contact with them? What have you seen so far?
Well, we are in contact with them. We watch their games because they're already in the season. We know they have a couple of games today. And they were not available because they are in, it was not a FIFA fixture date. So now, in the next FIFA fixture date, 5th of March, they are available and they're back in the picture. And we follow their games, if it's Puebla, if it's Tijuana, if it's, all the teams where they're at. So they are still all part of our squad.
Jürgen, the January camps are something that are much discussed among soccer fans and the value of them. Can you reflect back on the last 3.5 weeks and describe what you were able to take from this process, but also talk about the future of the January camp in the face of the more talent coming back to Major League Soccer?
I think, especially in this World Cup year, it is a very kind of important and valuable camp. First of all, we have to cut their long break short. They can't afford to have another month off, and not on an international level. So we would lose the train already for the World Cup if we wouldn't have done that now. It was a great opportunity for us to combine it with a trip to Brazil and test out the infrastructure down there for us. And now we have a clearer picture of what to expect in June, July. Overall, the camp was always looked at as a camp to get them kind of back into shape. Maybe in the future, we more likely look at it, as a developmental camp to say, maybe we cut it down to younger players and see how we can develop those younger players, because it shouldn't be our job actually to cut their season shorter and get them fit. That is actually the job of MLS. So I always mention that I would like to see the MLS season getting lengthened. Now we're going to get more teams, especially in 2015. So maybe hopefully that happens. So we kind of rethink the whole idea of the January camp, especially for next year where there is no World Cup. There will be a Gold Cup, yes, but obviously it doesn't have the same meaning then as this World Cup year. And maybe we change some things with this camp because of the possibility of maybe looking at the next generation of players coming through the ranks.
We're going to go back here, same way.
Yes, I'm Korean Indian. Yesterday you praised the Korea team's strong pressure and energy. In this game, do you see such performance from Korean team?
Yes, you can see that. I mean, obviously it's easier for us, to play throughout the whole 90 minutes, if you're up 1-0 after a couple of minutes. It's psychologically it's an advantage that carries you through the game. As long as they don't equalize, you're always on the upper side of the game. I think, you can clearly see the culture of the South Koreans in terms of commitment, of aggressiveness, and pressuring you everywhere on the field. They had their strength certainly in set pieces, with number 9 and other guys. We all know that the key players of South Korea are playing in Europe. They're not here. If you go name by name through the Korean squad, they probably have a completely new lineup when they are on the 5th of March in Greece. And I know all these players. They play in the Premier League, they play in the Bundesliga, they're all over. They're not here. All the players that are here, with all their qualities, but they play in the K-League and they play in Japan. And so we know who we faced today, and I know that Bo, for the next game, then he has his A team available, and will prepare them for the World Cup.
Scott,
at what point did you know that Mike McGee wouldn't be able to go? How did that play out, and does it have any impact on him going forward?
No, he had issues last night, and then again before we actually left, and so we left him back at the hotel. He threw up last night a couple of times and this morning, and so it's unfortunate, And but we had a good talk, and he knows, we watch him now. He's part of that group now, and his best arguments is like Wando is scoring goals. So no, it was great to work with Mikey finally in my time now here as a coach, and he knows that the door is open for him.
Jürgen, you already mentioned there's only one FIFA-given fixture this year. How tough does that make your job in getting all the players together? And how do you reach out to the Europeans? Will you fly there? Will you watch them personally? Will you talk to them a lot personally? So to get them like on one page for May, June, July?
Well, it's a difficult task for all of us coaches, that have the teams going into the World Cup with only one FIFA fixture date in March. It's not much that you can really do, especially with a 48-hour release window. So you get the game, you get some kind of answers from that one game, but the real workload for the players is in their club teams. That means, scouting, as we mentioned the other day, becomes really crucial. I think we are now differently positioned. We have Andreas Herzog living in Vienna. We have Matthias Hamann there in Germany. So every weekend they are all in the Premier League or in the Bundesliga. They watch the players. Everything is televised, which is wonderful too. So now it's our job basically to observe them, to watch them, to talk to their coaches. Their coaches is our main connection, because they tell you how they're doing in training, how they do off the field, how they do it obviously in the games. So all that information is really, really important for us now going forward the next couple of months, and then obviously we have to make the decisions then in May.
Last one will be Ridge Mahoney in the back.
Jürgen, can you talk a little bit about the central midfield? You've said that Jermaine Jones and Michael Bradley are going to be the starting pair, but what did you want out of Kyle Beckerman and Mikhail Diskerud today, and how did they perform in the center of the park?
I think both did a very good job, and I mean with Kyle, since years we know what we have. We have a guy that is always reliable, is always there, is very disciplined, and I mean, he goes always the extra mile, in every training session, in every game. So this is just really wonderful to have an anchor like him there. With Mix, we have a player, I think, that is a special talent. He's special. He has a special vision. He can play one-touch football. He sees between people. He can pass between people. So we bring him along, since he went through Caleb Porter's hands in the Olympic team. And now we kind of try to get him to the next level every time he comes in, and he takes that really well. So that gives us already a good feeling going towards the World Cup. Then obviously other players, they still wanna break into that team. If it's a Benny Feilhaber, if it's a Danny Williams, if it's other midfielders, they want to kind of prove that they belong in that group as well. So we keep also watching these guys. We don't forget about them. But I think with Kyle and with Mix right now, we already have a good feeling to be well off towards the World Cup.
Thanks, Jürgen. Thanks, everybody. The mix zone is now open.
Thank you very much.
Head coach Jürgen Klinsmann's got to be a happy man. The U.S. 2-0 winners over the Korea Republic here this afternoon at StubHub Center in L.A. World coverage is not over. We got plenty more to come. In fact, it's just getting started here on Match Access Live. Don't go anywhere. In just a few minutes, we're going to grab a couple of the players. They're going to come out of the locker room, head the way to the bus, but we're going to grab them in between. So stay tuned for that. In the meantime, we got your highlights in case somehow you missed it or you just like to watch them. Of course, Chris Wondolowski is going to be all over it. Enjoy, and we'll be right back in just a few minutes. Welcome back to Match Access Live. I'm Jeff McAdam, and now we got Brad Evans joining us from the game today. Obviously, the result you guys wanted. How did you guys feel like you played as a team?
Yeah, well, I thought the first 20 minutes was very good. I think we caught them on their heels. Obviously, we got the goal, but they settled in a little bit, and they put some pressure on us with some free kicks, corner kicks, and we had to weather that storm. And then we come out in the second half, and I thought it was a more complete performance in the second half.
What did you guys do so well? What was the biggest strengths for you guys during the game?
Yeah, I think in the first half, first 20 was moving off the ball and getting all the guys involved in the game. It wasn't, only going down the right side, only down the left. We mixed it up, got guys involved, and when you keep guys happy on the field, guys tend to move around a little bit more.
Right. And on the flip side, obviously a 2-0 win, it's going to look good for sure. Are there any things you guys take out of a game like that you go, good game, but gosh, we got to work on this a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, personally, I got to work on crossing. It's if I find myself in the attack, I've got to, get something out of it in certain situations. So personally, you go back, look at tape, what you can do better, and keeping it simple in some areas. But overall, I thought it was a good performance. But you talk to everybody, we can do better in all areas.
Sure. And a couple guys obviously got their first cap as well. Got to be excited. I know you're excited for them too. But do you remember what it's like to get your first cap, and what's that like for those guys?
Yeah, well, my first cap was in Seattle, in my home city, which was awesome. And then obviously, playing right back tonight, and then having DeAndre come in and fill in for the last 20 minutes was, that was special too. And I'm happy for him. And he's put in the work. At such a young age, I couldn't imagine, at 20 years old, going out there and playing right back in a full team game. But it's a great time.
How hard is that? Maybe it's been a little bit, but how hard is it, especially for a guy as young as that, to come in and bam, you're in it right away,
It's
right?
difficult. It is difficult. But, he put in work for 3 weeks, and the reward was tonight for him to get his first cap. And, the game is fast. And, he told me after the game that he was still catching his breath. Even though you're playing defense, it's a different ball game. So, that comes with time. And anytime you come in as a sub, it's a little bit more difficult. But for him, we'll see him in the future for sure.
You got about a month and 4 days before the next big international game. What do you guys do until then? What do you work on until then?
Yeah, well, I focus on my club team now and building the relationship with the new players who've got in Seattle. But things that I can take away from this game, I can implement at playing right mid with my club team. And it's a quality across, taking guys on and getting the attacking third a little bit more. So things with my club team that I can hopefully bring on March 5th, which will remain a goal. But for now, it's Seattle Sounders.
Brad Evans, thanks very much for joining us. Congratulations on another win. United States 2-0 winners. We'll be back in just a minute. Match Access Live rolls on at ussoccer.com. Welcome back, soccer fans. Live Match Access on ussoccer.com. We are joined by one of those guys who got his first international experience today, his first cap, Luis Gil. Congratulations. That's got to, what does that feel like?
Thank you. I appreciate it. It's a great feeling. It's been a long dream of mine to be here. I worked my way up, and it's always a great feeling to be out in a crowd like that.
Did the expectation, did it meet all the expectations of what you thought it would feel like when you stepped out on the field for the first time?
Definitely, and more. It's always great. Like I said, it's a great feeling, and it's a big opportunity for me. And I'm just happy to be here.
Is it hard to settle in? I mean, you got 15 minutes to make something happen out there, or do you? Or do you just soak it in?
I soak it in. I would have been fine playing a minute. Just getting out on that field and that opportunity is always great.
Now you're with the U20s before this. You've been part of this national team program for quite some time. What's this run been like, and to have this moment be called up World Cup just right around the corner. It's got to be all kind of a lot to soak in and got to be exciting, right?
It is, definitely. You know, it's been a long journey for me coming with the youth teams and finally making it here. And now that it's a big step forward, and now we got to take another step going to the World Cup.
Team going to Brazil, had a unique chance to bond as a team. You know, what comes out of that? What's that like, and how fun was that?
Oh, it was real fun. You know, all the guys, you know, we're brothers. We're a big family, you know, and just getting to know each other that much more always helps out.
You had 15 minutes tonight. Do you feel like you're ready? You belong on this level?
Hopefully, you know, I'm still working. You know, I still got a lot to learn. This is my first game, and hopefully it's not my last, but that's up to me at the end of the day, and I got to work for it.
Well, I saw a lot of the comments, fans on our Match Access Live. Right there in the bottom right, you guys have been commenting all night. Saw a lot of positive reactions from you in your 15 minutes out there. So at least some of the fans liking what they see. Congratulations, another big game. Luis Gil, appreciate it. Good luck. All right, don't go away. We still got more interviews. Live Match Access continues here on USsoccer.com. All right, welcome back in. Live coverage here on USsoccer.com. I'm joined by the goalie. Big save tonight. Nick Raimondo, welcome. Tell me about that save you had in there first 10 minutes. Was it as close as it looked?
Yeah, corner kick came across near post. Guy got ahead to it. Our near post guy left because they sent two guys out there, and luckily I got across my goal, kept it off the line barely, and you never know with the calls that refs give, and I just try to get up as quick as I can and play on.
Was it for sure? Was it for sure on the line, or did you think for a second?
Yeah, I didn't know inside the game, but I got confirmation that it didn't go in, so I'm happy about that.
I mean, and talk about the game overall too. I mean, obviously, you guys got the result that you wanted out of this, a 2-0 win. How did you feel about the game? Was it a good game overall?
I thought it was fantastic. I thought the guys worked hard. The movement was great. The commitment was everything that we wanted. We came into a long camp, and to end it that way is fantastic. I'm really proud of the guys. It was a good performance all around.
Obviously a shutout. How do you feel like the guys played in front of you?
Great. I thought the back four especially did great. We moved the ball well. We were concentrating on moving the ball from the back to the midfielders and just creating space, and I thought everybody did great.
Next big game is about a month and 4 days away. Not a month, not about a month and 4 days away. What do you do now as you get focused on potentially making a World Cup team?
Yeah, right now the focus shifts, I think, for everybody going back to their club teams and being a leader there and continue training and concentrating on your game, but also being a leader back there because we're in here for a reason, obviously, but we want to make that team and we want to be sharp and hopefully we could be at that next game.
Nick, congrats. Another big win for you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate it.
All right, we got more player interviews coming up. We'll keep going here. Don't go anywhere here on USsoccer.com. We'll be back in just a few minutes.
No, just the flag. Where was the? I put it the handout right back where it was.
Wherever the cameras 3 and 4 are.
You think I'm good?
You guys good? Are you good? Oh, you need to test this Saturday. Where have you been doing?
Hey, we got match piano.
How you doing? That's what I
That's the case that you want. I'm going to say to my voice crew out and absolutely it's always she did that way. Just kind of cap off this whole game. What's the difference? You're enough points they can fire you anyway. Yeah, but still just want to be on the safe side. Hard work. I have no idea how many points that is. Tell us what I know I got something for I know she'll get the points out. Great ball. All my points. All my points are because I feel yeah, one follow up.
2014 begins with a win. The United States, a 2-0 victory over the Korea Republic on the strength of 2 goals from Chris Wondolowski. And now, the next game, a month and 4 days from now, March 5th, in Ukraine. In the meantime, we got plenty of stuff to take a look at, including right here on our YouTube channel. Lots of videos, and again, always log on to ussoccer.com for the latest updates on the U.S. men's national team and all the other national teams. On behalf of everybody here, the United States Soccer Organization, I'm Jeff McAdam. Have a great evening.
And it will be turned into the back of the net, and it's Clint Dempsey again. Oh yes, Josie Altidore ends the scoring drought. And the most unlikely man to be the hero is Eddie Johnson. Does it on his home turf. Does it again. Chris Wondolowski on fire. Diskerud has it down, and the Americans have 5. Jurgen Klinsmann wins his first trophy, claiming the 2013 Gold Cup. United States are through to the World Cup. Where else would you rather be than right here, right now?